I just started reading the book of Deuteronomy, and in the first two chapters, there's a couple things that Moses says that struck my attention. The first is in chapter 1, verses 34 through 40. When the Lord heard your words, he was wrathful and swore, not one of these, not one of this evil generation, shall see the good land that I swore to give to your ancestors, except Caleb son of Jephunneh. He shall see it, and to him and to his descendants I will give the land on which he set foot, because of his complete fidelity to the Lord. Even with me the Lord was angry on your account, saying, You also shall not enter there. Joshua son of Nun, your assistant, shall enter there. Encourage him, for he is the one who will secure Israel's possession of it. And as for your little ones, who you thought would become booty, your children, who today do not yet know right from wrong, they shall enter there. To them I will give it, and they shall take possession of it. But as for you, journey back into the wilderness, in the direction of the Red Sea. Now, the thing that stuck out to me about this passage was in verse 37, where Moses is saying that the Lord became angry with him and told him that he would not enter the promised land because of the Israelites. Now, the Hebrew word that's used for account here is galal, and the short definition for that is because of. So it means what I thought it did. Moses is saying that the Lord became angry with him because of the Israelites. He's essentially trying to blame the Israelites for God getting angry with him. Where the account in Numbers 20, I think, tells a different story. This is verses 1 through 13 from Numbers 20. The Israelites, the whole congregation, came into the wilderness of Zin in the first month, and the people stayed in Kadesh. Miriam died there and was buried there. Now there was no water for the congregation, so they gathered together against Moses and against Aaron. The people quarreled with Moses and said, Would that we had died when our kindred died before the Lord. Why have you brought the assembly of the Lord into this wilderness for us and our livestock to die here? Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to bring us to this wretched place? It is no place for grain or figs or vines or pomegranates, and there is no water to drink. Then Moses and Aaron went away from the assembly to the entrance of the tent of meeting. They fell on their faces, and the glory of the Lord appeared to them. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Take the staff and assemble the congregation, you and your brother Aaron, and command the rock before their eyes to yield its water. Thus you shall bring water out of the rock for them. Thus you shall provide drink for the congregation and their livestock. So Moses took the staff from before the Lord as he had commanded him. Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock, and he said to them, Listen, you rebels, shall we bring water for you out of this rock? Then Moses lifted up his hand and struck the rock twice with his staff. Water came out abundantly, and the congregation and their livestock drank. But the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, Because you did not trust in me to show my holiness before the eyes of the Israelites, therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land that I have given them. These are the waters of Meribah, where the people of Israel quarreled with the Lord, and by which he showed his holiness. So the account in Numbers 13 actually looks like Moses got angry at the Israelites and decided to disobey the Lord's commands, and it was because of his disobedience that he was punished. He was not punished because of or on account of the Israelites. It was something that he decided to do, but it seems like he's trying to shift the blame. The other thing that Moses says is in Deuteronomy 2, I'm going to read verses 26 through 37. This is regarding the defeat of King Sihon. So I sent messengers from the wilderness of Kedemoth to King Sihon of Heshbon with the following terms of peace. If you let me pass through your land, I will travel only along the road. I will turn aside neither to the right nor to the left. You shall sell me food for money so that I may eat, and supply me water for money so that I may drink. Only allow me to pass through on foot, just as the descendants of Esau who live in Seir have done for me, and likewise the Moabites who live in Ar, until I cross the Jordan into the land that the Lord our God is giving us. But King Sihon of Heshbon was not willing to let us pass through, for the Lord your God has hardened his spirit and made his heart defiant in order to hand him over to you, as he has now done. The Lord said to me, See, I have begun to give Sihon and his land over to you. Begin now to take possession of his land. So when Sihon came out against us, he and all his people for battle at Jahaz, the Lord our God gave him over to us, and we struck him down along with his offspring and all his people. At that time we captured all his towns, and in each town we utterly destroyed men, women, and children. We left not a single survivor. Only the livestock we kept as spoil for ourselves, as well as the plunder of the towns that we had captured. From Arior, on the edge of the Wadi Arnon, including the town that is in the wadi itself, as far as Gilead, there was no citadel too high for us. The Lord our God gave everything to us. You did not encroach, however, on the land of the Ammonites, avoiding the whole upper region of the Wadi Jabbok, as well as the towns of the hill country, just as the Lord our God had charged. Now, what struck me about this was Moses' word to King Sihon, where he talks about wanting to be allowed to pass through on foot through Sihon's territory. And he mentions the descendants of Esau as having done so for him. Where, again, in Numbers 20, we have a different story. Now, the descendants of Esau are also known as the Edomites. And Numbers 20, verses 14 through 20. The heading for this passage is Passage Through Edom Refused. Moses sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom. Thus says your brother Israel, you know all the adversity that has befallen us, how our ancestors went down to Egypt, and we lived in Egypt for a long time. And the Egyptians oppressed us and our ancestors. And when we cried to the Lord, he heard our voice, and sent an angel and brought us out of Egypt. And here we are in Kadesh, a town on the edge of your territory. Now let us pass through your land. We will not pass through field or vineyard or drink from any well. We will go along the king's highway, not turning aside to the right hand or to the left, until we have passed through your territory. But Edom said to him, You shall not pass through, or we will come out with the sword against you. The Israelites said to him, We will stay on the highway, and if we drink of your water, we and our livestock, then we will pay for it. It is only a small matter, just let us pass through on foot. But he said, You shall not pass through. And Edom came out against them with a large force, heavily armed. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through their territory, so Israel turned away from them. That seems to be a different account of events than that which Moses was giving to King Sihon in order to try to barter for their passage through his territory. I find it a little interesting that have a couple different examples here of Moses seeming to give an inaccurate account of events which have transpired and have been recorded for us to take a look at. Be interested if anyone else has compared these versions of events and come to a similar conclusion.